Hello, everyone. If discipline feels like a war you're losing right now, I need you to understand one thing. It feels hard because it is working. That heavy, dragging resistance you feel every time you try to do the right thing, it isn't a sign of weakness. It's the physical sound of your brain rewiring itself. It's your logic fighting to take the wheel back from your instincts. You aren't failing, you're evolving. And today, I'm going to show you why that friction is the only signal of progress that actually matters. Discipline is a physical process, a literal rewiring of the circuits inside your head. And just like a muscle that only grows when it's under tension, your mind only evolves when you lean into the friction. Inside your brain, there is a constant war happening between two very different voices. One voice is ancient. It lives in your emotional center, and its only job is to keep you safe, comfortable, and fed. It wants the easiest path. It wants the dopamine hit from the phone screen. It wants you to stay under the covers where it's warm. But then, there's the other voice. The logical part of you right behind your forehead. This is the part that plans for the future, the part that knows who you want to become. Whenever you try to wake up early or sit down to work, these two systems clash. This conflict is called limbic friction. It's that internal no you feel when the alarm goes off. When you feel that resistance, you aren't broken. You are simply at the starting line of a real biological change. There is a specific area in your brain, a tiny hub that scientists call the willpower center. It's the seat of your tenacity. And here is the fascinating thing. This center doesn't grow from doing things you enjoy. It doesn't get bigger when you're having fun or following your passion. It only expands when you do things you specifically do not want to do. If you love running and you go for a run, this part of your brain stays the same. But if you hate the cold and you force yourself into a cold shower anyway, that little hub in your brain physically grows. It gets stronger. It's like a mental muscle that only responds to the things you resist. But there's a catch. Willpower is transient. If you stop doing the hard things, if you stop challenging yourself, that center starts to shrink. This is why you can't arrive at discipline. You have to keep earning it. Every microsuck, every small uncomfortable choice like taking the stairs instead of the elevator, is a workout for your soul. It's a message to your brain that the person behind your forehead is in charge, not the primitive voice that just wants to hide. We also have to talk about dopamine, the fuel for your drive. Most of us are taught that dopamine is about pleasure, but it's actually about the chase. It's the chemical that makes you want to go out and get things. But we live in a world designed to hijack this system. When you stack your rewards, listening to loud music while drinking an energy drink, while scrolling social media, you create a massive spike in your brain. But what goes up must come down. After that peak, your dopamine levels don't just go back to normal, they drop into a deep valley. This is why you feel so flat and unmotivated the day after a big binge or a long session of cheap thrills. To find true discipline, you have to learn to protect your baseline. You have to stop chasing the highs and start finding a quiet reward in the effort itself. There's an old theory in psychology called learned hard work. It suggests that the sensation of effort, the burning in your legs, or the strain in your mind, can actually become its own reward. When you consistently pair hard work with success, your brain stops seeing the pain as a threat. It starts seeing it as a signal that something good is coming. You start to crave the struggle because you know, deep down, that the struggle is the only thing that moves the needle. This is how masters are made. They don't have less pain than you. They just have a different relationship with it. Think about a trail in the woods. The first time you walk through, it's overgrown. It's hard to move. You're fighting through branches and tall grass. But every time you walk that path, the grass gets matted down. Eventually, the path becomes clear. Then it becomes a dirt road. And finally, a high-speed highway. This is exactly what happens in your brain through a process called insulation. When you repeat a disciplined action, your brain wraps the wires of that circuit in a protective layer of fat. This makes the signal move like lightning. It makes the action feel automatic. The hardness you feel at the start is just the signal trying to travel through those naked, uninsulated wires. Every time you push through the resistance, you are literally paving the road. One of the biggest traps you'll face is the need to be perfect. Many young men feel like if they miss one day or make one mistake, the whole thing is ruined. They fall into this all-or-nothing trap. But perfection is the enemy of progress. If you're afraid to fail, you'll never take the risks needed to grow. Real discipline is good enough, repeated every single day. It's the 70% rule. Aim to show up and give a solid effort, even if it's not your best. A messy workout is infinitely better than a perfect one that never happened. Be kind to yourself when you stumble, then get back on the path. The goal isn't to never fall, it's to never stay down. If you want a change that actually sticks, you have to stop focusing on what you want to achieve and start focusing on who you want to be. If you say, I want to lose 20 pounds, you're focused on an outcome. But if you say, I am the kind of person who never misses a workout, you are building an identity. Every small act of discipline is like casting a vote for the person you want to become. You don't need a landslide victory today. You just need one vote, one paragraph written, one healthy meal chosen, one difficult conversation had. Over time, those votes accumulate until the evidence of your new identity is undeniable. You aren't forcing yourself to be disciplined anymore. You're just being yourself. Look at the masters, the people who have reached the top of their fields. They don't live lives of constant excitement and hustle. They live lives of quiet, boring consistency. Take a master sushi chef like Jiro Ono. He's spent 70 years doing the exact same thing every day, perfecting the rice, sourcing the fish, refining the technique. He doesn't look for applause. He looks for mastery. Or the novelist Haruki Murakami, who wakes up at 4 a.m. every day to write, then runs 10 miles. He calls it a form of mesmerism. By removing the need to make a choice every day, he enters a deeper state of mind where the work just flows. And even Tom Brady, one of the greatest to ever play the game, credits his success not to natural talent, but to his mental toughness and his refusal to take the easy way out. He views every loss as a positive experiment, a chance to learn what needs to be fixed. True freedom isn't the ability to do whatever you feel like in the moment. That's not freedom. That's being a slave to your impulses. Real freedom is the ability to choose what matters most, even when it's hard. It's the ability to say no to the small part of you so that the big part of you can live. This is what the Stoics and the Zen masters have been saying for thousands of years. Discipline is the foundation of peace. When you master your inner world, the outer world loses its power to disturb you. Think of your life like a flywheel, a massive, heavy metal wheel. At first, it takes everything you have just to get it to budge. You're pushing and straining, and it feels like nothing is happening. But then, it moves an inch, then a foot. Then it completes one full circle. Each push builds on the last. Eventually, the wheel gains so much momentum that it starts to spin on its own. It becomes a juggernaut. That's the flywheel effect of discipline. The hard work you're doing now is the arduous buildup. It's supposed to be heavy. It's supposed to be slow. But don't you dare stop, because the breakthrough is coming. So, the next time you feel that resistance, that limbic friction that tells you to quit, smile. Acknowledge it. Tell yourself, this is it. This is the feeling of my brain growing. This is the price of the person I'm becoming. Discipline is not a punishment for who you are. It is the liberation of who you are meant to be. Don't wait for motivation. Don't wait to feel like it. Just start. Push the wheel. Cast the vote. Because discipline feels hard. Because it's working.